Video number 1, how to emotionally detach from the narc. The narc attacks you in a variety of ways, and he'll never stop attacking you. Why? Because he's a narc, and that's what dirtball narcs do. But the narc has other reasons as well for his attacks. To create chaos, to keep you in constant pain, off balance, anxious, and walking on eggshells, to keep you always focused on him and what he's saying and doing, to drain your energy and keep you in codependent mode. The narc's attacks keep you distracted, exhausted, consumed by him, weak, and barely surviving. So you are unable to focus on yourself and build yourself up. You are unable to prepare to leave him. The narc's abuse is awful and destructive just by itself, frankly. What makes it worse, what makes it more deeply wounding, is that you are still emotionally connected to him. Every abusive event re-traumatizes you. Because the abuse is nonstop, you don't have time and energy to recover before he wounds you again. This keeps you paralyzed and stuck in codependency. Your emotional connection to the narc feeds the ongoing and awful trauma bond. It never stops. The narc re-traumatizes you so you can't think straight, you can't get healthy and strong, you can't even begin the process of leaving him. And that's exactly what the narc wants. Don't make any mistake. He knows exactly what he's doing. When you married the narc, not knowing he was a narc, you gave your heart to him. You gave your love to him. You gave your life to him. This makes you vulnerable to his abusive attacks. Now you have to take your heart, your love, and your life back from him. All of it. Now you need to build a wall around your heart. I would never recommend this for a normal marriage. You're not in a normal marriage. Now you need to step by step emotionally detach from the narc. Emotional detachment protects you from the narc's attacks, which will continue. The blows will still come, but their impact will lessen. Emotional detachment helps you take assertive action against his attacks. You will have the focus and energy to follow my assertive anti-codependent strategies in this video series. If you're emotionally attached, not going to happen. Finally, emotional detachment allows you to deal with the narc's backlash to your growing assertiveness. When you become more and more assertive in response to his abuse, which you're going to do going through this series, the narc will be outraged and attack you with a vengeance. He wants you back in passive codependent mode. Emotional detachment will empower you to handle the backlash and become even stronger. Like everything in this video series, emotional detachment is hard to achieve, especially since you are an empath, a caring and sensitive person. Many people are. Many women are especially. Some men, not me. But with training and time, you'll be able to detach. Let's look at some biblical support for emotional detachment. All the verses in Proverbs about staying away from fools are biblical support for this. And the narc is a fool. In fact, he's a dangerous fool. Proverbs 14:7 says, "Stay away from a foolish man, for you will not find knowledge on his lips." Okay? That's emotional detachment. Proverbs 23:9, do not even speak to a fool, for he will scorn the wisdom of your words. And we have Abigail in 1 Samuel 25. Her heart was shut off from her fool Nabal, her narc Nabal. She emotionally detached from him with God's blessing. Okay, here's how to emotionally detach from the narc. The truth is, just about every video in this series will help you emotionally detach, but here are some strategies to get you started in this process. And again, this is foundational. 1, stop all efforts to change the narc and the marriage. Just stop. Stop marriage counseling, waste of time and money. Stop talking to your pastor or any counselor as a couple. If you want support for you and help to get away from him, fine. Don't bother as a couple. Stop going to marriage seminars. Stop going to marriage intensives. Stop recommending therapists to the narc. Here's a program, honey. Here's something you can do. Don't waste your time. He's not changing. Stop reading traditional marriage books. The 5 love languages, love and respect, are for normal couples with normal marriage problems. You don't have that. All these efforts are a waste of time and money and energy. None of them will work. Have they worked so far? They're not going to work. They keep your focus on the narc. They keep you vulnerable because if you're trying, your heart's still invested. We don't want your heart invested. You're taking your heart back, remember? Now, because the narc will never change, that's right, I said never, the marriage will never change. 2, replace your codependent lies with independent truths. Let me go the lies and the truth. I love him, which is a lie, is replaced by I don't love this monster. I love what I wish he was. The lie he can change is replaced by he'll never change. Ironclad, guarantee. No, he's not a bad guy. That's a lie. That can be replaced by he's a bad guy. He's my enemy. I'm part of the problem. Many empaths feel that way. Becomes the narc is the problem, not me. I'm staying for the children. Another big fat lie becomes leaving is best for my children. He's ruining them and turning them against me. And the longer you stay, the more they're turned against you. 3, stop saying I love you to the narc. It's not true, and it weakens you, and it feeds the emotional connection. When you say those words, you're drawn to someone, even if they hate you, and he hates you. If the narc says I love you, he doesn't even mean it, but if he says that, you can mumble back I love you just to humor him and to keep him off your back, but never initiate those words. 4, stop referring to the narc in any positive, endearing, or personal way. Don't use these words when you are talking to the narc or talking to someone else about him. Sweetheart, sweetie, honey, hubby. I was talking to a lady, an older woman. I should say older. She was in her 60s. So am I. Anyway, but she'd been with the narc a long time. And she was probably in her 60s. And she was telling this nightmare story about this hideous narc. And she kept referring to him as hubby. I said, ma'am, stop using the word hubby or I'm going to hang up on you. And I was serious. Stop that. She was still in that mode. Hubby? Try horrible monster if you want an H, please. Don't use the narc's first name ever again. That's too personal. Don't use the narc's last name. You'll be getting rid of that nasty last name when you divorce him anyway. I tell most ladies when you divorce, and don't worry about the kids. So many folks have been divorced. It doesn't make a difference. You're not keeping that stinky last name. I don't care what it is. You'll go back to your maiden name. And call the narc you, he, him. Speaking of pronouns, just call him you, he, him. It's always worth. Avoid as much as you can referring to him as your husband. That's only true on a piece of paper. He's a narc and that's all he is. Now don't call him a narc to his face, of course, but in your mind, that's all he is, an abusive dirtball you temporarily live with. 5, always expect the abuse because it's not going to stop. Stop any thoughts that maybe he'll stop abusing you. That makes you vulnerable. That keeps you emotionally connected to him. We don't want to have any hope. There's no hope for the marriage or the narc. There is hope for you and your children by getting out. Do not get your hopes up when he's nice to you. It won't last. It never has, right? It never will. The shoe will always drop. He'll always abuse you. Don't be surprised. When someone keeps jerking their rug underneath you, get off the rug. Finally, 6, here's what you do when the narc notices your emotional detachment. And boy, he's going to. He's not an idiot. He will see you pulling away emotionally. He will be furious and punish you. He'll ramp up the abuse. He'll accuse you of being emotionally abusive, of being a narcissist because you are pulling away from him. He'll tell others you are selfish and not loving him like a good Christian wife should. Be ready for a number of clueless wonders to confront you on his behalf. To those you can trust 100%, tell them the truth about the abuse and why you are emotionally detaching. Ask for their support for them and for them to say nothing to the narc. To those you can't trust, ignore them. Tell them only that's personal. Don't waste your time with these clueless wonders. When the narc confronts you and asks why you are pulling away from him, and he's going to, tell him things like this. I'm growing as a person. He won't like any of these, but too bad. I'm growing as a person. And maybe the kids can hear these. I'm working on myself. I'm working on my personal issues. All true. I'm also leaving you. Don't tell him that. This is a good one. I'm going through a midlife crisis. I don't care if you're 25. I'm going through a midlife crisis. I don't care how old you are. This one still works. Say, my changes have nothing to do with you. In fact, they have everything to do with him, but you don't tell him that. When the narc asks, and he will, are you thinking of leaving me? Are you planning to divorce me? The guy smells a rat. He's not an idiot. Say with a straight face, no, I have no plans to leave or divorce you. Now, that's a big fat lie, but go ahead and lie. Like a rug. That's a Rahab lie. Check her out in the Bible. Rahab in the book of Joshua lied. Outright bald-faced lied to protect the Israelites. And she made the Hebrews 11 Hall of Fame for godly persons. Hey, because she was protecting God's people and honoring God. You can also say, which is another lie, when I'm ready and have done my individual changing, we can work on the marriage. You have no intention of ever working on the marriage. Don't let him know that. You're just buying time. The narc will find out about you leaving after you leave.